The Manchester Artist Teachers Collective is a group of gallery educators, art leads and art teachers from the Whitworth Art Gallery, Home, Manchester Art Gallery and 10 art schools across Manchester. These include pupil referral units, hospital schools, colleges as well as secondary schools. So it's a really broad mix of people, but we all have one shared ambition, and that is art being taught well in our curriculum and being there for the young people of Manchester.
So originally when we started to think about the Manchester Artist Teacher Collective, it was to try and bring together secondary art school teachers to help develop them as really important key players of education in the city. And the opportunities to understand how they worked as a network to share their own practice. That we felt that that wasn't happening in a serious way across the city. And I think as sort of art gallery spaces, we thought, how can we work with schools to enable this to happen?
We came up with this concept of art matters. We wanted to really explore that through the lens of art teachers. These are all individuals that had studied art at university and through the teaching process had perhaps lost their identity and understanding of their own practice.
I'd been teaching for 23 years. It has the capacity of starting to erode your confidence. It can start to make you have not the time to dedicate to your own practice, and slowly but surely it sort of takes away that ability to start to just get up and do.
I think the guilt of not having engaged with your practice for a while becomes a barrier in itself.
When I talk to people and say I'm an art teacher, one of the first things people say is, oh my God, show me some of your art. And it's like a gut punch every time because I know that I haven't actually drawn anything that's worth showing anybody for a long time.
And I think I'd lost confidence, to be honest. So I'm building up my confidence slowly and this has allowed me to just be much more experimental, freer and kind of take risks and not worry too much.
I've taught for 30 years now, and that becomes so overwhelmingly your practice that you forget that you've got your own skills.
At the start of the process, I think most would argue that they were not making their own work or they were not experimenting creatively with their own practice. And through this network, we've been able to support a journey to reignite some of those passions.
So some of the different things that the artist teachers have been able to do through the programme is buy equipment, buy software to test.
I've been diving into a software called Bloxels with this idea of how can we help animate some of our artworks in novel new ways. You know, I wouldn't have been on that course. It's having the time to just pause, reflect and pursue this research. I don't think without freelance that I would have been able to gain that. I've made my own video game. How cool is that? I'm chuffed to bits.
So one of the things that came with this collective is actually a very generous amount of money for our personal development or for workshops and working with artists. And I did lots of different workshops at Hotbed Press Studio.
I've had a bursary to pay for membership at a printing studio. I've got loads of art equipment at home paid for by programme.
I've moved into realms that I would never probably have dreamt of working in, so I've moved into video. I've always loved photography and I always think that has a place with screen printing because it interlocks so well, but the moving image is really exciting me and it's helping me to cathartically go through different emotions at the moment. Having this was a real support.
An important part of my role is connecting the artist teachers and the arts organisations with the wider arts ecology in Manchester. I am a practising artist and I have good connections to the artist-led scene in Manchester, so it's been really important for me to take the collective to artist-led spaces and work with as many Manchester artists as we can.
Actually seeing what is in Manchester, because that's something that I wasn't aware about, is kind of what is out there.
The first workshop we did at the retreat, it was like a real cathartic experience. I was like just in tears of like being able to make again, and that was really beautiful and that sort of stuck with me.
This is my 6th year of teaching now. I haven't met yet another black male art teacher. So visibility for me has been like my priority, my #1 priority, to try and like push in the subject.
We work using an action research model. This requires the artist teachers to start their case study with a question that they want to answer. And they answer this question through making and doing. Sometimes the journey will change as they embark on it, but you always have this question to refer back to. This model of action research allows the teachers to engage in a way that is maybe not always possible in their school teaching.
We've had 4 main themes that have come out of this programme now. They've been play, progress, personal and professional. Play has been very important for this whole process, and in fact our funders, Freelands, their generosity and their openness in their funding have really allowed us to play and to explore and to push boundaries. Teachers are very overworked, they have a lot of demands placed on them, and play has really seemed to energise them.
Personal, so it's an ongoing journey, being involved in their own practice, going to studios, going to workshops, making their own work.
We've been really thinking about progress within this work. It's been very interesting to see teachers who have been very excited about their own practice and start making again, how this has progressed into the classroom and into the schools. They're telling their students now that they're artists. They are showing their work.
The other outcome, I think, is about how it's impacting on the professional. How are senior leaders within schools really understanding the value of this, that creative teachers starts to develop amazing things in the classroom.
What the group has managed to do is enable us to carve out that we can have multiple identities, and you know, the teaching role is just one, and actually being a practitioner and artist is another, and they can go side by side.
I've had this kind of name artist teacher kind of introduced to me rather than just being an artist and a teacher separately. It is something that goes together.
But for me, another word that's been really important is the collective, and the idea that we are a shared group that are working together. People have felt supported, people have felt bonded, and people have really found the power of the collective.
It was as if we'd all kind of known each other.
But it seems now that everyone's become, you know, we've all become very like old friends now. It feels like we've known each other for longer than 2 years, and the new people that have joined as well. I think we've got stronger as more members have joined, which has been fantastic.
It gives me a safe space, a space to be me, a space to relax in without being demanded of anything.
You know, we're more powerful when we're together, and I really hope that this collective can kind of show, I don't know, all the art teachers across the country what we've done and the impact it's had.
I wish this was like bigger in terms of like more art teachers could feel how we feel right now, because if we feel like this, it can't just be us.
Something that was unexpected that we've learned through this process is the difference between year 1 and year 2. So in year 1, the artist teachers engage with a lot of skills development, workshop training, learning new materials and processes. And then in year 2, we wanted to encourage more working with artists, deepening that research and embed that sort of skills-based learning.
I think the impact of being a part of this collective has really allowed me to be extremely vulnerable. Now, you know, I feel quite open, like my mental health. I struggled for a while with that, and I feel like doing something like this has been able to bring out who I am. You know, it's actually about me and about me being able to express myself in a way that I thought was lost, really.
It's been, I'm really lost for words. I've absolutely loved it. I felt like I was back at art school doing just stuff and just having a great time.
It's been like a massive breath of fresh air for all of us, I think, involved. But I think it's also given our students a breath of fresh air, because I've come back into school with new ideas. I've talked to them about my own processes as an artist, which I've never done before. I found it quite liberating. I've found that I've had a new lease of life through my teaching.
I think it's really important that if you're teaching a creative subject, that you're practicing your own creativity. It really shows in your teaching, it really translates to the students.
We've started to share learning through a number of means, and what we found very encouraging and heartening is at a symposium that we invited people from across the arts education sector, was how valuable they found the day and how important it was for them to find a group of like-minded people and speak. I heard from a number of people that said, I'm on my own in my institution, I work here, no one else understands this the way everyone here does. And finding a sense of community and belonging can really help people. As Art Matters comes to an end as it stands, it has given us a really important opportunity to see how people have developed, see what has really benefited and helped people, but also to see where we need to go next. And that's a very exciting moment for us. How are we going to expand this group? We're quite a small group at the moment, but we really want to act as a place that can support and share this learning across the sector and act as advocates for how powerful personal development is and how this impacts in schools.